All right, let's dive right into this explainer and discover how we can build ultimate, holistic strength from the inside out. Today, we're pulling together some truly incredible insights from world class performance experts, psychologists, and even some deeply personal celebrity journeys. We're going to figure out how to reclaim our minds, our physical bodies, and our personal boundaries. We so often think of strength as just one thing, right? Like how much weight we can lift, or maybe how much stress we can endure at work. But true resilience, it's a complete holistic system. Now, Selena Gomez recently shared a really profound realization about her own mental health journey. And I love this because it completely challenges our fear of vulnerability. It sets this incredibly intimate, high stakes tone right out of the gate. Think about it. We spend so much of our energy absolutely terrified of breaking. We put up all this armor just to portray perfection to the world. But true resilience actually begins the exact moment we accept our fractures. Recognizing that there's no perfect, linear way to heal, that allows us to finally stop fighting ourselves and start actually moving forward. So, we have a lot of ground to cover today, but to make it super actionable, this explainer is broken down into three main pillars: emotional resilience, the strength training revolution, and surviving narcissistic personalities. Let's get into it. Starting off with pillar one, emotional resilience and acceptance. Okay, so Selena Gomez realized that her bipolar diagnosis wasn't going to just magically disappear. It's a part of her. And she found that learning everything she could about it was the secret to disarming her fear. It's exactly like how she dealt with thunderstorms as a kid. When she was terrified of the wild weather in Texas, her mom bought her books about cloud formations just to demystify the storms. And Selena applied that exact same logic to her mental health. She decided to learn her triggers and accept her condition as, well, kind of a companion. Because when you know it's going to rain, you don't scream at the sky, right? You just grab an umbrella. But this mindset naturally begs a massive question. As we grow and change, how do we evolve without completely breaking ourselves apart? It is incredibly painful to let go of an old identity, even one that's totally toxic and no longer serves us, because it often feels like a failure. And what happens? We end up dragging around the heavy baggage of who we used to be. Letting go doesn't have to be this aggressive, traumatic thing. Think about a snake shedding its skin. It doesn't violently rip it off. It just sort of slithers out and lets that old layer fall away peacefully. When you're shedding a past trauma or an old expectation, you don't need to get defensive. Graceful acceptance is literally the ultimate form of emotional strength. We have to lean into vulnerability, much like Selena and her mother did when they were navigating their respective 28-day facility stays and dealing with moments of really deep anxiety. Moving right along to pillar two, the strength training revolution. It is wildly fascinating to track how science completely flipped the script on strength training. I mean, it went from being seen as this dangerous myth to the ultimate predictor of a long, healthy life. Back in the 1900s, experts genuinely believed lifting weights would damage your heart. Wild, right? Then the 60s hit, and suddenly it was all about Arnold Schwarzenegger and getting massive, which made everyday people think, well, that's definitely not for me. But today, the science shows that physical strength is one of the strongest predictors of your lifespan and health span. It is no longer about looking like a bodybuilder. It's about building a fundamentally resilient physiology. Okay, if you hate the gym, you are absolutely going to love this next concept. Human performance expert Dave Asprey reminds us that our meat operating system, our biological body, is basically designed to be lazy on the couch to save energy. So we should outsmart it with brief intensity rather than punishing it with endless treadmill sessions. Doing hours of traditional cardio tells your body it's constantly being chased by a tiger. It creates continuous stress and famine signals. Smart strength training, on the other hand, acts as a brief, intense stimulus followed by deep recovery. You're literally hacking your body's natural desire to save energy. Just think about the math here for a second. By giving your body precise, intense bursts followed by deep rest, you can hack that laziness in just 15 minutes a week for a massive return on investment. The data speaks volumes. 5 hours a week of traditional cardio might give you a tiny 2% improvement in performance, mostly because your body's just exhausted. But short, highly intense strength signals, which takes about the same amount of time you spend brushing your teeth each week, can push your performance up by 12%. You don't have to work harder, you just have to give your biology the exact signal it needs to adapt. And here is the real kicker. Skeletal muscle accounts for a staggering 80% of the variance in your resting metabolic rate. 80%. That number right there is the absolute secret to outsmarting aging. If you want a metabolism that works for you instead of against you, building and maintaining lean muscle mass is the foundation of the whole shebang. Fitness coach Sonata Greer and Dr. Andy Galpin really hit the nail on the head here. Lifting isn't just about looking good for the beach. It's practically a biological shield against aging. It protects everything from your bones to your brain. See, right around age 30, we start losing bone density and muscle mass. Strength training actually reverses that. It fortifies your connective tissues so you don't suffer those catastrophic falls later in life. And this is the coolest part, because lifting weights requires your nervous system to fire incredibly fast. It keeps your brain heavily engaged, which science is now showing helps prevent late-onset dementia. You are literally lifting weights to protect your mind. And that brings us to our final section, Pillar 3, Surviving Narcissistic Personalities. If you're an empathetic, kind person who loves to uplift and praise others, listen up. Because clinical psychologist Dr. Ramani says you actually need to be highly vigilant. Why? Because you are the exact target for manipulative behavior. We often have this weird misconception that narcissistic people prey on the weak. Actually, it's the exact opposite. They hunt for high-quality supply. They want your shiny empathy, your status, your endless willingness to forgive. So you have to learn how to step off their chaotic carousel before it starts spinning way too fast.
Now, Dr. Ramani's core message here is a real game changer. Stop obsessing over diagnosing the rare clinical disorder and instead just focus on setting strict boundaries against the harmful everyday personality style. It is so incredibly easy to fall down an internet rabbit hole trying to figure out if your boss or your partner or your friend has formal narcissistic personality disorder. Honestly, leave the clinical diagnoses to the professionals in the therapy room. What you need to protect yourself against is the style, the everyday arrogance, the constant lack of empathy, the subtle manipulation. If their behavior is harming you, the medical label doesn't matter one bit. The boundary you set in response, that is what truly counts. So, as we wrap up this explainer on holistic resilience, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to take into the rest of your day. True strength isn't just one thing, right? It's a complete ecosystem. But hey, you don't have to fix the entire ecosystem today. Will you start by forgiving a part of your past identity? Will you spend 15 minutes hacking your biology with some smart strength training? Or will you finally set that boundary to protect your peace? Choose just one pillar today, take action, and start reclaiming your life. Thank you so much for learning with me, and I will catch you in the next explainer.